The Clone Wars came with no guarantee, no assurance that a clone trooper would live to fight another day. Oftentimes, their deployments meant facing off against a larger enemy force or holding out on a harsh planet. It wasn't as glorious as you may think. Plenty of clones lost their lives on the front lines, sometimes alongside their entire squadron, legion, or battalion. With that in mind, today we're going over 10 clone trooper units that were completely wiped out. The 104th Battalion. Led by Jedi General Plo Koon and Clone Commander Wolf, the 104th Battalion, or Wolfpack, wore armor with maroon markings. They were one of the most recognizable units within the Grand Army of the Republic and fought in many campaigns, such as the Battle of Abrogado, as numerous Republic fleets were destroyed by a new separatist superweapon, the Malevolence. Plo Koon and the 104th, aboard the Venator-class Star Destroyer Triumphant, were sent to hunt down the then-unknown superweapon. Discovering the Malevolence in the Abrogado system, the massive vessel fired its ion cannon at the Triumphant, disabling its power. The Malevolence proceeded to open fire, destroying the entire fleet. Koon ordered his troops to get to the Republic escape pods before their ships were obliterated. The Separatists then sent hunters to search and destroy for the remaining escape pods, killing any survivors to keep the Malevolence's capabilities a secret. The only known survivors of Plo Koon's entire fleet were Commander Wolf, Sergeant Sinker, and Boost. With so many of the battalion's clones lost during the Battle of Abrogado, clone troopers of the 104th later changed to a color scheme of flint gray as a way to honor their brothers lost during the Malevolence campaign. The unit's numbers would be replenished with additional clone troopers and continued to be one of the Republic's very best. The Battle of Jaim. The Republic intervened in a civil war raging on the planet of Jaim, wishing to preserve its vital economic interests in Jaimimi mining, while the Separatists backed an anti-Republic Jaimimi faction with arms and battle droids. Republic forces initially made significant gains, but they overextended their limited resources. The CIS, led by Asajj Ventress and the Jaim native Alto Stratus, quickly gained the upper hand, even capturing ARC Trooper Alpha 17 and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was presumed dead after an explosion. Clone forces were generally unprepared for the atrocious conditions on Jaim, their new heavy AT-AT walkers stuck in the unforgiving muddy plains. Meanwhile, the Jaimimi were fighting in the environment that they were familiar with. The presumed casualties on Jaim included over 9,000 clone troopers, that's the equivalent of an entire clone trooper legion, on top of 27 Jedi, and 5,000 or half of the allied Jaim forces. Anakin Skywalker, torn between loyalty and orders, was forced to make the difficult choice to evacuate, abandoning Jaim and its people. Mag's Snowtroopers. In the Clone Wars Cold Snap webcomic, Cold Assault clone troopers under Captain Mag were deployed on the icy world of Orto Plutonia, where they were tasked with testing Sub-Zero gear such as the CK-6 swoop bike. This was a hellish assignment. Not only were they stuck on a tundra planet, but the clones couldn't enjoy a warm meal. Their food rations were not shipped in insulated canisters, and the low temperature froze them solid. The troopers had to boil their food, taking away what little flavor the rations had to start with. The squad did not come across any separatist battle droids, but stayed in fighting shape by building snowmen and using them for target practice. Things got a lot worse when the squad started to encounter a very dangerous and mysterious species that they nicknamed the Icemen. These were, of course, the native species known as the Tulls. The final members of the squad, Commander Mag and Shiv, were killed at their camp when their speeders froze up. Another force of Cold Assault troopers were sent to investigate, led by Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Captain Rex. They discovered both the Republic and a separatist outpost whose personnel had all been slaughtered. Trauma's ARF Troopers. Commander Trauma led a group of ARF Troopers who wore lighter armor for stealth and speed and often rode AT-RT walkers into battle. Trauma served in a unit under the command of Jedi Master Halsey and his Padawan Nox. When the Edit Jedi Temple was attacked by the Separatist droid army on the planet Deveron, Trauma and his troops engaged the battle droids outside the temple's main entrance. During the battle, however, Count Dooku's newly anointed Sith apprentice, Savage Opress, would undergo his first field test. He entered Devron's atmosphere at the behest of his master, joining in the battle and pushing his way past numerous battle droids. He took a single shot from one of Trauma's men before beginning a slaughter of the temple's defenders with his spear. Trauma proceeded to charge at Opress and came to a crouched stop in front of the warrior. He attempted to fire his blaster but was killed, simultaneously stabbed, and launched into the air by Opress's spear. After Trauma's death, Savage went on to murder both Halsey and Nox with relative ease. After the massacre, the clone commandos of Delta Squad retrieved the bodies of the two Jedi on Devron and transported them to the temple on Coruscant. Keeley's unit. Captain Keeley served under the command of Jedi General Ima Gun Dai. Great foreshadowing there. During the Ryloth campaign, Keeley and Dai worked with the Twi'lek resistance leader Cham Syndulla, though they were in desperate need of aid and reinforcements. Buying time for the Twi'lek people to retreat, Keeley's unit fought with General Dai to the very last man. The garrison was severely outnumbered and completely wiped out, with Keeley and Dai both dying in a final stand, just as Republic supply ships arrived for the Twi'leks. The 182nd Legion. The 182nd Legion are a group of clone troopers who were actually wiped out twice. Let me explain. The first time the 182nd appeared was in the 2005 Star Wars Battlefront 2 Rise of the Empire campaign. The 182nd Legion was deployed to the separatist-held world of Felucia, one of several key targets in the Republic's campaign to reconquer the Outer Rim territories. The Legion successfully landed on the planet, but were soon cut off from communications with the Republic. Isolated and unheard from for a month, reinforcements from the 501st Legion were sent to fulfill the 182nd's objectives. Yet, the 501st also endured many hardships in navigating through a hazardous terrain filled with hostile acklays, flesh-eating bacteria, and many other obstacles that made Felucia extremely difficult to subjugate. Under the leadership of Jedi General Aayla Secura, the 501st ultimately survived their ordeal on Felucia, but discovered that the 182nd had been all but wiped out. We again learn of a group of clones belonging to the 182nd in A Trooper's Tale from the Clone Wars Comics 6.8. This squad from the 182nd was deployed to the planet Belgaroth on a reconnaissance mission, which only their commanding officer, Sergeant Mart, barely survived and completed. Thorn's Shock Troopers. Commander Thorn and a garrison of shock troopers accompanied Senator Padme Amidala for negotiations on the banking clan's world of Scipio, home of the corporation's vaults. However, this was a setup by Count Dooku, as separatist forces soon invaded and Hyena-class bombers attacked Thorn's position before waves of B-2 super battle droids and BX commando droids were dropped in. With the clone troopers surrounded and fighting to the end, Thorn, as the last of his troopers, yelled out one final "For the Republic," but was soon killed after taking multiple blaster shots to the chest. He and his men fought valiantly until the very end. Phil's Squad. Jedi General Kit Fisto and his former Padawan, Nadar Veb, were dispatched to track down Viceroy Newt Gunray after he escaped the Venator-class Star Destroyer Endurance. Meeting on Vasek 3, Fisto and Veb, along with Clone Commander Phil and his squad, moved into a fortress where they believed a homing beacon was. Little did they know this was actually the lair of General Grievous. Once Grievous arrived, the clones unfortunately started dropping like flies. 2 were killed by Grievous himself in the initial encounter, another fell into the incinerator trapdoor, and the 2 left to guard the shuttle, named Bell and Niner, were killed when Magna Guards blew the ship up. That left Phil alone with the Jedi, but he was ultimately slain by Grievous's pet Rogwart named Gore, slammed to the ground by the beast's tail. The 332nd Company. When Bo-Katan Kryze and former Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano requested the help of Republic forces to retake Mandalore from former Sith Lord Maul's Shadow Collective, the 332nd Company was formed within the 501st Legion. Adorned with orange paint to match their unofficial general, the 332nd helped Ahsoka to capture Maul. However, Order 66 was soon enacted, and the clones were forced to turn on Ahsoka. When Ahsoka and Rex reached the main hangar, a formation of the remaining clone troopers was waiting for them, led by the ARC Trooper Jesse, but the ship had been sabotaged by Maul, with Rex and Ahsoka barely able to escape in a Y-Wing. But the remaining clones on board were all killed when the ship crashed on the surface of a nearby moon. Rex and Tano visited the crash site and buried the clone troopers they could find. The 13th Battalion. If we had a nickel for every time a Jedi escaped Order 66 while their entire unit was wiped out on a sabotaged Venator, we would have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. The 13th Battalion, led by Jedi General Jaro Tapal and his Padawan Cal Kestis, were also known as the Iron Battalion due to the resilience they showed in conflict. The 13th Battalion participated in the Bracca invasion and were preparing to head to Megiddo when Order 66 was issued. General Tapal was able to sabotage their Republic cruiser, but was still fatally shot by the clone troopers. Kestis survived and departed for Bracca aboard an escape pod when the ship exploded, killing the entirety of the 13th Battalion. But which of these wiped out clone units is your favorite? Did we miss any on our list? Let me know in the comments. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server, linked in the description. If you enjoyed today's Star Wars video, we've got more on the screen for you right now. Also make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5, standing by.